Alright, so we're going to be taking a look at the Flanker Dig out of Singleback Spread. This is a concept, so of course you can find it in other offenses. We're going to start by looking at the left hand side of the wide side of the field, which is where we're usually going to have our core design. And that core design of our play is going to feature a levels concept from our slot receiver and our outside receiver. You see they're both just going to run digs at different levels, one at about 5 yards, one at about 10 yards. We'll have a clear out route coming underneath to the outside from our halfback. It's a simple enough concept, but you'll see before long how much trouble this is actually going to give to our opponents. So we're going to jump into replay. Now, what you're going to notice is that cover 3 and cover 4, you're going to have this guy as your read defender, this key. In fact, he'll be our read against just about every defense. But in cover 3 and cover 4, we're going to look at him because what happens is these defensive players are bailing out because they have deep responsibility, so they're your quarter players or your deep thirds. So it's going to leave this guy down here by himself to deal with these 2 in breaking routes, this 1 out breaking route, all at different levels, and it's going to put him in the middle of a triangle that he's not going to be able to cover. There's no way he can make the right decision here. Our first read is going to be the shallow dig from our slot receiver. If we don't like what we see there, we'll go to the deeper dig from our outside receiver. If that is also taken away, we'll come back and we'll look to dump it off to our running back on his out route. His flat route, sorry. So what do we read when we look at these? Once our inside receiver is making his break, we're actually looking at the space he's going into. We're not looking at him, but we're looking at where he's going to see if there's empty space, if there are defenders in the space. We'll also be looking into the space that the outside receiver is occupying, and we're going to be watching that defensive back, of course, as he navigates these routes as well. And then between the two of these, they create a high-low now, where our halfback will have this space. But we have to remember, again, this defensive player is barreling down, so if you pass it to the halfback, be prepared to make him miss. However, on 3rd and 4th down, the right pass is usually going to be the second dig, the one to your outside receiver. So now that we know what our reads are and what we're looking for, what is our timing? Because timing is very important. So this is a 5-step drop. On that 5th step, when we plant our foot, we're looking for our slot receiver. If we don't like what we see, one more hitch, and then we're looking at the outside receiver. We don't like that either. One more hitch, we're looking down at the halfback. That's the timing. Practice that, rep that, and you get some rhythm. It's very, very easy. We'll take a look at what that looks like here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where you want to get the ball out to the slot receiver if you're throwing it. If you don't like that, then we're going to go ahead and say, okay, we got somebody in the space. Remember, we're looking at the space here. We don't like it, so we're not going to make this pass. So then what do? Okay, we take our hitch. Now we're looking up at our outside receiver because he's our second read. Do we like what we see there? Empty space. We know this DB is moving out of that space, so this is actually a great read in a game situation. But moving on, if we didn't like that read, we would take another hitch, and then we look down at our halfback. That is your timing. Those are your reads. Every time you go through this play, it's very easy. It's very plain. And this is where we're looking. Again, we're looking into the spaces that our guys are going to occupy, not the spaces that they currently occupy. What that looks like on the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hitch, and get it out to receiver number 2, or our outside receiver option number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hitch, and get down to the halfback. That's exactly what this is going to look like, and you'll get used to this in time. Now, that is the core design of our play. We're going to take a look at the other side. This is our advantage combination. What that means is these guys are set up to take advantage of the defense should they decide they want to compensate or overcompensate for what's taking place with the core design, with the other side of the field. And what is it that we have set up? So we have a switch concept set up with our two receivers on the side. And it's designed, like I said, if these linebackers start moving over to take care of those level routes or those digs, we're now going to be able to look at this S post because there will be space created underneath. And we'll also have this wheel route that's going to be holding these two defenders, keeping them honest so that they can't get down on our S post. Should they try though, we'll be able to hit the wheel down the sidelines for a big gain. So we'll let this play out and we'll go ahead and take a look at that in instant replay just like we did our core design. So remember, this is our wheel route. We're watching these defenders. Here's our S post. And this is our primary read on this side. So you see this defender? He's respecting the wheel route. He's moving to the outside to make sure he can't get a beat on the defense. But in so doing, he creates some space or some opportunity, I should say, for our S post. Now you watch these linebackers. They want to work in tandem to defend these two dig routes as they come across the field. So this guy is going to help out his buddy over here because he wants to pass off the shallow dig and take on the deep dig himself. So that's great. They're set up to do that. But what they're doing is they're leaving a huge window for my S post to go ahead and make an easy catch for 15 to 20 yards. And again, the wheel route, of course, is keeping these other defenders honest. Because if they try to cheat in to take care of that S post, I'll simply hit the wheel on the sideline. And that's why it's an advantage combination. So let's take a look at how that looks. Watch that linebacker cheat over to the dig. And our S post is wide open. That is going to look the same against cover 3 and cover 4. The exact same. Take a look at it again. You see my guy here, he starts out going the right way, but then he leans back toward the inside, giving the S post just the room it needs to make an uncontested catch. But we're always going to possession catch this unless we're desperate for yards. There's no reason to go ahead and get yourself hit. Quite often you allow the defense to either cause a fumble or just break up the pass. So possession catch that. So now I'm going to run this against cover 3. We won't go through it as meticulously as we did cover 4 because cover 3 responds to all of these routes the same way. Because of course those underneath zones, those curl flats and such are the same zones that we see in cover 4. The real difference with cover 3 and cover 4 is the deep coverage, not so much the shallow coverage. So you see again, this outside receiver, our second dig, is usually against cover 3 and cover 4. 90% of the time, if we're throwing to the core design side, we're going to be throwing to him. And our S post will always be open against cover 3 and cover 4 as well. You can see that was actually cover 3 seam. That S post was matched. It was still there. We still got it open for an easy completion. And you'll be able to see S post, as you know, it's going to beat man. So it'll beat a match coverage as well. We will go over man after we go over cover 2. So you'll be able to see how this does against man because this actually beats every defense. And your reads are the same. It's 1, 2, 3. Do I have the advantage side? Do I not? And a lot of times when you're looking, you'll be able to see if you have the advantage before you're even at that fifth step in your drop. Before you even plant your foot, you'll be able to know if you're going to be throwing to the post. So here we go with cover 2. We'll let it run and then we'll jump into instant replay again. Now in instant replay, you'll see, again, we're reading this nickel defender, but he's dropping back. See, so unlike cover 3 and cover 4 where he bumps the slot, this guy drops back and he gives you a free release and worlds of space underneath for that inside dig and for that halfback. The one thing you have to remember though is that this is normally user territory. So before you throw that dig, make sure you know what your opponent's doing, where he's usering. You don't want to throw a pick. The play progresses, of course. You see our second read. The window to that second dig is a little bit different against cover 2 than it is cover 3 and cover 4. So, of course, we want to go ahead and lab these plays against all coverages before we jump in game. Or at least before we jump in any games that are important. On this side now, you want to see when your wheel route passes that cloud fat, because you want to know where the deep blue is in relation to the sideline. If you have the shot, you take the shot to your wheel route, but you of course do not have to force it, because if he's shutting down the sideline, this S post is going to get open in the middle. So one of these two receivers are going to beat that deep blue. You just have to make the read and figure out which one you want to throw to. And so there you see, we hit that quick dig right away against cover 2. It's always there. And there goes our second dig. So you can see what this route combo on both sides, these two separate route combos are doing. They do great on their own, but they complement each other so well as well. And that's why this play is one that I felt like I had to break down, because as far as stock plays go in Madden, I don't know that I've come across a better one. And right now, this is far and away my favorite play. And you'll see, I'm going to post some stats at the end of the gameplay. You'll see that we actually spread the ball around a lot. Like we probably get just about even passing between, or receptions between about 4 or 5 guys. So now we're going to go against cover 2 man. And this is straightforward. You're looking at your 2 digs. You're looking at your S post. The running back quite often beats his man with speed, but the man beating routes are going to be these 2 digs and this S post, and you just want to see who gets leverage, when they get leverage, and then you're going to hit them on the break. So we won't spend a whole lot of time on that. It's pretty straightforward. We won't go against off man because we know what beats off man. I mean, that's extremely easy. We're going to smoke off man. But man press, you want to see, you snap the ball, they get this interaction, boom, do you win inside? This time both of these guys went inside, so you're going to let the play progress. Once they make their break, where is your pass? Where is your leverage? And you just always want to lead to your leverage. And it's going to be the same thing with the S post. And you'll see the S post here. Again, he wins as well. This was a great rep for the offense. That doesn't happen every time, so you have to read to see who's open before you assume where you're going to throw it. Now, this is very important. Send 5 out versus the blitz. I do not block my halfback. The reason for this is I need to dictate to the defense, not the other way around. Make sure they feel like they have to always cover all 5 receivers. Make your opponent know that there are going to be 5 routes he has to think about every single time, so that you dictate the way the game is played. Make sure the game is played on your terms, and make sure the defense isn't dictating to you what you can and can't do on offense. So what I'm going to do is I'm always going to ID the guy away from my halfback flat, because my halfback flat, I'm going to look for heat coming from the side of the flat, right? But my halfback flat and my slot, those are going to be my quick reads or my hot reads. So I'll ID this guy out here, and immediately I see I can throw to the halfback, I get it out to the halfback. Again, we ID this guy on the right hand side, halfback's there, quick digs there, throw it to one of your hot reads. You'll also be able to get that second dig, but of course I'm reading the first 2 as hots, and then if I have an extra beat, or if the user's jumping down on the first one, I'll go ahead and get it to the outside dig. Now there are tons of other setups I use as well. I'll show you that. Things where I'm using slants, I'm using hitches, and in fact there's one setup that I may do a video on where I turn Flanker Dig into dual slants on the wide side and stick on the short side. So I'll show you that in a moment. But you can do the 2 slants with the Clearout route underneath it, put a hitch over here on this side, so you got all sorts of quick reads. And then now this is my setup. I use this even against zone. This isn't just a man beater or a blitz beater. This is a great concept. We know double slants is a great concept. We know stick is a great concept. So the double slants I'm throwing if it's maybe cover 2, cover 3. I'm over here looking at the stick side, right? But it is, of course, great against the blitz as well because you have a lot of quick pass options. And again, I could do the dual slants and the halfback to the same side, so I have all those quick options, and I have a hitch over here on this side as well. I don't use that as much, but of course, you absolutely can do it. So I do these things to make sure my opponents stop blitzing. I don't get blitzed a lot. And the other thing is, the 0-1 trap. The 0-1 trap in this formation is actually really good against the blitz. I pick up better yards when I'm blitzed than when I'm not. But this is about the passing game and specifically about Flanker Dig, so we won't get too heavy into the 0-1 trap. Now I'll throw this one more time, maybe 2 more times, and then jump into some gameplay. See, now I chose this game because I actually got throws to every receiver. Now I read cover 3. I'm looking at my keys. I'm reading off of this defender, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I take a look. I don't like how that first read looks. There's a linebacker right in the hole. I take my hitch. I see space to my second receiver, which I said, that's going to be the case quite often. So you got to go ahead and take that. Now right here, you see how much pre-snap shifting is going on? Snap the ball, quick read as though it's a blitz. Whether it is or it isn't. Catch the defense off guard. They're not prepared, so by all means, halfbacks wide open, you go pick up them. Those I call free yards. The defense gave me those yards. You take a look here. I see this guy at the snap of the ball bailing out. And you see I've only taken a step back, but I know because of that, I'm throwing this to the S post, right? And that's why this is the advantage. And like I said, a lot of times you'll see before you even plant that foot on the fifth step, you'll see if you can throw to the advantage. So now it looks like we got a cover. Oh, it's a cover 2 hit. So we go ahead and we hit that first dig, which I said it's going to be open against cover 2 as long as you are prepared to keep an eye out for the user. And now right here, it looks like we have, I'll read to the second dig. That was match. So against match, we know I'm immediately looking for my best receiver. Here's another instance where he's not respecting our halfback route. He's backing up his coverage. So we say, okay, we're going to make you respect all 5 of these receiving options. Again, I can see that my S post is going to be open. The user's bailing. This linebacker's bailing. Nobody's respecting the S post. I'll go ahead and take up the big gain. Now it looks like a cover 3. It's definitely single high. So we'll go ahead. We'll get this set up. And look, it's that cover 3 match again. Look at these guys biting down on the S post. We're going to throw the wheel. And this is why I chose this game, because I hit every single one of these routes at least one time. So that's it for this play, guys. I'm telling you, this is my favorite play. I'll post some gameplay because it's fun to see. You see, I missed one pass this whole game. And I'm going to show you those wide receiver stats I said I would. Oh, you see Tony Pollard's stats there? I'm telling you that 0-1 trap is great, but you see the receivers hold on 5 catches, 4 catches, 4 catches, 3 catches. Like I said, we spread the rock around pretty evenly in this offense. So, thank you guys for watching. It's been a pleasure. Take care.